Well, 3-1 victory. That scoreline puts Arsenal in good stead for their first European final in 13 years. At 2-1, it was anybody's game, really. And I mean, 3-1, it's not job done by any stretch of the imagination. It's certainly not game over. But Arsenal are in pole position for, like I said, their first European final in 13 years. But boy, was that not the easy way to get a 3-1 win. I mean, I've got two trains of thought really. The first thought is that Arsenal could have got 4, 5, maybe even 6 tonight. But then my other train of thought is that Valencia could have easily been 2 or 3 goals to the good even before we got our opening goal. So the job's not done. It's a good result. Not a great result, a good result. It's not over yet, but we have seen Lacazette and Aubameyang shine. Welcome back to Analysing Arsenal. These are my thoughts and feelings to the game in the Europa League semi-final. The first leg of Arsenal's European semi-final for the second consecutive season. Slightly easier opposition than last year. I mean, last year we had Atletico Madrid, who were just absolutely sensational. The fact that they were in the Europa League semi-final, they were only there because they got knocked out of the Champions League. The same can be said for Valencia, but it's a nicer tie. It's a nicer semi-final tie than what we had last year. And obviously last year we fell short in the second leg of our Europa League semi-final, and we should have comfortably beaten Atletico Madrid, and it was how we played in the first leg that ultimately cost us, because we didn't take the chances that we created in the first leg against Atletico Madrid. We went to Madrid in the second leg, weren't able to get any chances, and then ultimately lost the game. So the first leg is really, really important of any European league, but especially in a semi-final, you have to start strong, because you want to go into that second leg holding on to something. You want to be the controllers, not the chasers, and that is really, really important. I personally feel like you've got more of the advantage being the home team in the first leg. I know the opinion is that many people like to play away from home first and then in the second leg be on their own turf, and for Arsenal this season that has helped us, because we've had embarrassing, awful, spineless performances away from home. In the Europa League it's been no exception, losing to Rennes and Bate Borisov, and it's the second leg that we've been able to save ourselves essentially, particularly away from home at Rennes. We were 3-1 down, and it was only that we put in a fantastic home performance to get ourselves past Rennes in the first leg, in the second leg I should say. But then on the flip side, we started at home against Napoli, could have scored many more goals, and I went into that away tie against Napoli generally afraid, because I was sitting there and thinking to myself, all Napoli need to do is get 1 goal and it's a completely different tie. But we were resilient, we were compact, we kept a clean sheet, and we also got a goal. So we beat Napoli by 3 goals to 0 over 2 legs, and nobody saw that. Valencia are a good team. They're a good, strong, solid squad, and they started in the best possible way, really. I mean, the first 15 minutes they could have been and should have been at least 3 goals to the good. I mean, they are catching Arsenal in not a great run of form. I did do an Analysing Arsenal at the weekend. I'll talk about the Leicester game. I'm actually not really going to talk a lot about the Leicester game. I will address that in this video, but Arsenal have been nothing short of embarrassing at the moment. I mean, we were sitting here a couple of weeks ago and saying that not only are we in pole position for a Europa League final, but we're in pole position for a top 4 space. Had we beaten Everton, Crystal Palace, Wolves and Leicester, we would have already secured Champions League football for next season, and we've lost all 4 of those games. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. And what frustrates me more than anything is that this squad is capable of being a good squad defensively and also going forward. I mean, going forward, Arsenal will always score goals, and they always have scored goals, and that is not going to ever change, particularly if you've got Lacazette and Aubameyang up top, Mesut Ozil in behind, although he picks and chooses when he plays his best game. But I don't think we've got any issue going forward. Our Achilles heel has always been defensively, but we have shown this season and in the past that we can do it. We can be tight as a unit, we can be organised, we can make good decisions, we can be as good going forward as we are going back. We're good with our transitions, we're good with marking our runners, we're good at the interchanging of the channels. We have shown that we can do it, we just don't do it consistently enough, and that is not acceptable, because it feels to me at times that you've got players that pick and choose when they want to play. I mean, against Leicester, we were absolutely all over the place, and the incentive was there to get ahead of Chelsea and Manchester United, who are both playing each other, who were going ahead. So, they were both going to drop points, or one of them were going to drop points. It was a huge advantage. We had an even bigger advantage when we played Wolves. Granted, Wolves are a very, very good side, and I said that, there's no shame in losing to Wolves, but, we've bottled, essentially, getting a Champions League spot through the top four. It's very unlikely. I mean, what we're going to now need is we're going to need Watford to beat Chelsea and win our last remaining games. One of those is away from home, I should say, to Burnley. So that's not going to be easy. But we started really shaky. I mean, really shaky. And their goal from a set piece, I mean, it's a simple header. And you've got 4 players round Deshabi, 4 of them, and not one of them win the header. He's just bigger, he's stronger, and he wants it more. And it's just simple, basic defensive errors that you can't afford to make at any level, let alone a European semi-final. But tonight, we responded. We weathered a storm for the best part of 10-15 minutes. I mean, Garay had an open goal in the early stages, which I don't know how he missed the chance. I generally don't. They made up for it a minute later because Valencia got their first goal and their away goal. But we got back into it, and we showed a little bit of fight, we showed a little bit of heart, and we showed a little bit of character. Lacazette and Aubameyang tonight were absolutely extraordinary. I mean, they shined, they really did. I mean, the first goal actually comes from Mesut Ozil, we'll get onto him in just a second, passes it into Lacazette, and the way to pass to bend it kind of just across, down to the left-hand side. Aubameyang used his pace to get in front of the Valencia back line, and he is really calm and really cool and really composed as well, because what he does is, I mean, he could have shot himself. I'm pretty sure he would have got past Neto in the position he was, but he just feathers the ball across into Lacazette, who's got an open goal, and it's just the combination between Lacazette and Aubameyang and the overall way that Ozil interchanged. I mean, he got 2 defenders away from both of them because he's running centrally down the middle. You've got Aubameyang down the left, you've got Lacazette down the right, you've got Ozil in the middle. If 2 men go towards Lacazette, Ozil's going to be in a lot of open space. If they go to Aubameyang, it's the same thing. And Valencia didn't know which man to mark, and they played it so quickly and so effectively that it allowed Aubameyang to get into a little bit of space. He kept his cool, kept his composure, and was very unselfish in the way that he just passed the ball across to Lacazette, who opened the scoring. And once we equalised, we started to get comfortable and get into the game. I mean, the second goal, once again, we got a little bit lucky because it's bad goalkeeping from Neto, and it definitely crossed the line. I mean, it was about a good yard from the cross that came in, Lacazette through the header, and Neto kind of catched it but then dropped it straight away. It allowed the ball to then fall back to Lacazette, who headed it into the back of the net, and it was checked, but it went past the line. Goal line technology confirmed. And in that kind of 7-minute spell, we went from being potentially 3-0 down to being, 2-1 to the good. But going into the second half with greater chances, as did Valencia though. I mean, they've got a good side. They've got, Rodrigo, Guedes, they brought on, Waz, they've got Pereiro. They haven't got a bad side, and they, are only in this competition because of going out of the Champions League, finishing in their Champions League group. I think they finished third. Yeah, they must have finished third. So they finished third in their Champions League group, and they're a really organised and strong side. I mean, they give Barcelona and Real Madrid a run for their money, really. I'd say they're probably maybe not the best of the best. I mean, you've got Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. I would then say that Valencia is probably the best of the best out of the remaining teams in the Liga. So they're no pushovers by any means, but at 2-1, it's not over. I mean, as I said, it's still not over now, but you kind of feel like had it finished 2-1, Valencia only need 1 goal, and then we have to score. We simply have to score, just like we had to do against Atletico Madrid. At least we have got that 2-goal cushion. We've got that 2-goal cushion. That means if Valencia get 1, which I don't just believe they will, I know they will, they are going to score next Thursday. but at least we've got something to hold on to. I mean, it took to the 90th minute. I think Kolasinac down the left-hand side. It came originally from Lacazette's shot. Good save and a really good way that Neto got himself back into position. The ball then fell back to Kolasinac, who crossed it over, and then Aubameyang did really well to just side it in. I think they felt that he was going to go into the back post, and then he just feathered across the goal and then slotted it in, and that was a really, really important goal because it does change the complexion of the tie. Personally, I wish Arsenal had got 4 or 5 tonight and kind of killed the game in one tie, which means we can go over to Spain next Thursday and not really worry. It's going to be nerve-wracking because Valencia, all they need is 2 early goals, and this tie flips on its head, absolutely. So we need to do exactly what we did away from home against Napoli and be boring, essentially. Be defensive, be compact, be resilient, be strong, and just allow Valencia to come at us and just defend. We don't need any more goals. Just hold on to what we've got. Let's just do a strong, solid defensive away performance, which is not going to be easy because we just don't seem to be able to get the concept of how to defend away from home. So that would be my aim. We go over to Valencia next Thursday and we just defend for our lives. And if we do that, we're into an Europa League final and we've got, a golden opportunity to win this competition. I mean, Chelsea have drawn with Frankfurt tonight. I expect Chelsea to be in the Europa League final. I expect them to get past Frankfurt at Stamford Bridge. But I think that on our day, we can beat Chelsea generally. I mean, we've already done it this season. And I think that you keep Hazard quiet, and as you know, I watch a lot of Chelsea. You keep Hazard quiet. Chelsea are an average side. I mean, we're average at the minute, but at least we've got firepower going forward, and Chelsea are weak defensively. And if we keep Hazard quiet, you're almost essentially making Chelsea try to get a goal from somewhere else, and they're surrounded by players who are nowhere near as good as Hazard. I mean, you've got Hazard who's the cream of the crop, who can win you a game on his own, and then he's just surrounded by good players, mediocre players, but they're not Hazard. So you keep Hazard quiet, you've already put yourself at a big advantage of getting past Chelsea. And again, I would say that we would be the favourites to get past Frankfurt over one 90-minute game. And yet we still have a very slim chance of getting into the top 4. But I want Champions League football. I absolutely want Champions League football, and I think that this will be a successful season. Although I feel that Unai Emery, and I want to be addressing this at the end of the season, but Unai Emery has definitely taken this club forward, and we're definitely in a better position than when we were, a year ago. But that will only be confirmed if Unai Emery gets us into the Champions League, and whether we can somehow salvage a top 4 spot, very unlikely. This is the best way of getting into the Champions League, by winning the Europa League, and we're 180 minutes away from doing that with a good performance away from home and then a win in the final. So, from where the semi-final was last year to where we are now, it is a big improvement. And I was actually quite impressed with the squad, actually. I think the only change I would have made is I would have put Torreira on from Gundazi early on. I would have started him instead, and then I would have just swapped it. But again, when Torreira came on, he did give us a bit more defensive stability. I think Ozil had a very good game, and I think, Unai Emery needs to build the team around Lacazette, Aubameyang and Ozil with the number 10 if Ozil is willing to work. And tonight, he did. I saw him track back. I saw him make those runs. I saw him do what I have always criticised him about. You can't dispute how great he is as a player, how great he's going forward. He's one of the best playmakers in the Premier League. He creates chances, he scores goals. But it's the other side of his game that I just don't see enough of. But I did see it tonight. And as I said, I think Lacazette and Aubameyang were sensational. It was a shame that Koscielny went off injured. It just seems that his time is up. But, we need, we need a huge shift of change in our defence. But from the squad that we've got now, they can do it. They don't do it enough, but they have got it in them. And this squad is definitely capable and definitely good enough to win the Europa League. We've just got to keep, this kind of run going, and hopefully this will give us the confidence to spur us up, because it felt like we were faltering and failing and just, we were on such a good run. We then, lost to Everton. Then we kind of went back up by beating Napoli away from home. but then we have lost our last 3 games in a row, conceding 9 goals in the process. It's just, you know, hopefully this result will restore confidence. We have our final home game of the season on Sunday. We then can hopefully at that point, Watford have done us a favour, so we can go into the final game of the Premier League with knowing the fact that if we beat Burnley away from home, we'll secure a Champions League spot for next season. In the meantime, we've also got the Europa League to fall back on. So, you know, this season is very much still on, but we need to ensure that we replicate this performance, which wasn't an easy performance, wasn't an amazing performance by any stretch of the imagination, but we need to replicate this hard work against Brighton, against Valencia, against Burnley, and then the Europa League final. And if we do that, we're going to be finding ourselves back in the Champions League next season, and that is where we need to be, because Unai Emery can only rebuild this squad to take it from where it is now to where we want to go with, you know, the Manchester Cities and Liverpool, and we're very, very far away from that. But the only way that we're going to do that, in my opinion, is to get into the Champions League, because we can attract the best players, and then Unai Emery can really get to grips with the squad. But all in all, a good performance, not the greatest performance, and Valencia on another night could have had at least 3 or 4, but Arsenal on another night could have had at least 5 or 6. But I will be rejoining you on Sunday for the final home analysing Arsenal. What I mean by that is it's our final home game of the season, but it will be the penultimate analysing Arsenal. But I'll be addressing all of that in the next video. So until then, this is Bagpuss signing out. Take care, and I shall see you all later. Please make sure to leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Take care, and I shall see you Sunday. Bye bye.